Hello, my name is Jasmine Jade Newton. I am an undergraduate at the University of Delaware. I am now a senior and majoring in women's studies and psychology, as well as minoring in organizational and community leadership and gender and sexuality studies. My faculty advisor is Dr. Tiomara Rutherford, and my summer scholars research project is on compensation and cognitive training. My main question is, does a monetary incentive result in higher brain training game scores and self-reported enjoyment of the game? Compensation is commonly used to reward a person for their efforts or performance on a task. We tend to overlook the possible implications that compensation has. This project aims to investigate and discover what implications there are. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation are factors that contribute to a person's performance when engaging in a task, and these motivations may be decreased or enhanced through compensation. Learning how performance is tied to incentives has implications for improving both cognitive training and other learning or training fields. This can benefit society through increasing productivity, success, and quality of life. In a 2018 study, Katz and colleagues focused on the motivational effect of monetary compensation. There were statistically significant group differences observed between paid and unpaid participants, with unpaid participants reporting a higher number of errors during the regimen. However, there were no differences between paid and unpaid training groups' improvement on transfer measures. In this study, participants completed 20 training sessions with a working memory regimen with or without payment. The study honed in on monetary compensation, which provided insight into the impact of money specifically on performance, which will ultimately assist in the elaboration of the similar effect in our study. Katz and colleagues' 2018 study leaves some open questions regarding compensation. The authors paid their incentive group for completion of the study rather than performance. Research on intrinsic motivation shows that extrinsic reward can reduce intrinsic motivation for an activity. The impact of extrinsic rewards can vary depending on whether they are completion contingent or performance contingent, with both empirical and theoretical evidence that performance contingent rewards can have positive and negative impacts on motivation. In this proposed project, we will eliminate some of these limitations from the Katz and colleagues study. Recruitment procedures will be aligned between paid and unpaid participants, and we will compensate participants for performance, not just for completion. For our method, we will utilize the program Lumosity, a brain training program that claims to enhance and improve cognitive functioning, including transfer to untrained measures. My faculty advisor, Dr. Rutherford, has an existing relationship with Lumosity and has been granted permission to use these games for the study. We will use a two-group between subjects design. Recruiting 40 participants evenly divided between the two groups will allow us to detect an effect of 0.47 at 80% power. Each group will be recruited to participate in a paid study investigating working memory training, which will be promoted as up to $20 per participant. We will only recruit among University of Delaware undergraduate students that are within the age range of 18 to 24. On day 1, participants will be pre- and post-tested on an attentional control measure by playing a game called Hearts and Flowers, as well as being tested on a working memory measure utilizing the backwards digit span test. In the game Hearts and Flowers, the participant either presses D or K. They're instructed to press D when the heart is on the left side of the screen and K if it's on the right. For the flower, they press D if the flower is on the right and K if the flower is on the left. The participant practices rounds of the Hearts and Flowers separately until eventually the heart game combines with the flower game. For the backwards digit span test, the participant is read a sequence of numbers in which they have to repeat the sequence in reverse to the researcher. The sequence grows longer if the participant remains answering correctly. As soon as the participant makes 2 mistakes, the test is finished. On days 2 through 5, participants will play 3 rounds of Lumosity's Loss and Migration. This game is a selective attention game with 1 round. The participant clicks the arrow on the keyboard corresponding with the direction the middle bird within the flock is facing, ignoring the other directions of the birds surrounding it, up, down, left, and right. The game is scored based on the amount of correct answers within the 45-second time period of gameplay, with the addition of bonus points for consecutive correct answers and the speed of answering. The picture on the top left is an example of what the game will look like, and the bottom right is what it looks like when you complete a round. As said before, we will have 2 groups. The incentive group will be told that they will receive $5 for each of the 4 training days they improve their score by 10%. The control group will be told that they will receive $20 at the close of all study activities. After finishing their participation, both groups will be debriefed and receive $20 total at the close of study activities, regardless of performance. The means of how we will know if each participant improved by 10% each day is through a Google Sheet, in which both groups will use to track their progress in the game each day of playing. Below is a sample of the Google Sheet they will be tracking their scores with. The numbers that you see entered are sample numbers shown to check the formula calculation. Participants will also receive a pre- and post-survey each day of training. The pre-survey before the training will ask how motivated are you to improve your score, in which they will answer on a scale from 1 to 6. The post-training survey will ask how much did you enjoy the training today, and they will answer on the same scale of 1 to 6. The purpose of these surveys are to help us gather data on the participants' motivation levels before and after training. Sadly, due to our IRB application still waiting on approval, we have not been able to begin gathering participants and conducting this study. However, once all data is collected, we plan to analyze differences in our outcomes using regression analysis, with outcomes regressed on condition and covariates, including gender and pretest score. We will additionally examine the motivation surveys for how the trends over 4 days of training differ between the conditions. Again, because we are still awaiting the IRB approval for this study, we have not been able to collect and analyze data. However, we anticipate that the incentive group will have higher daily scores than the control group. We expect that our score differences will be higher than the between groups in Katz and colleagues study, given that our compensation will be performance contingent, which can both provide actionable performance feedback and greater motivation to excel. We expect this difference to be reflected in the daily motivation surveys regarding how motivated participants are to perform well. And currently, we do not have a hypothesis regarding improvement on attentional control and working memory transfer tasks. In conclusion, once we gain approval from the IRB, we still have the intention to carry out our detailed plans in conducting this study. Depending on the results, we may also write up results for journal publication. We also intend for our results to be written up for a conference presentation to be submitted to a venue, such as the American Psychological Association or the Association for Psychological Science. In addition, this research can potentially serve as a pilot for a longer-term training to be included in a journal publication. And here's a brief view of the references I've mentioned throughout my presentation. Feel free to pause the video if you would like to read through them. Additionally, here are my acknowledgements to those who were very helpful to me during this process throughout the summer. And lastly, again, my name is Jasmine Newton, and I thank you for your time and interest.